The worst thing about vampires is that they're dead. That whole wanting to suck your blood business runs a close second, but for sheer creepiness, it's the dead bit that gets me every time. They're up and walking around and talking and sucking blood, but they're dead. And then there's the whole terminology problem. How can you kill something that's already dead? It's just wrong. I was 24 the first time I dispatched a vampire. That's when I found out that all the books and movies are wrong. When you stick a wooden stake into their hearts, vampires don't disintegrate into dust. They don't explode. They don't spew blood everywhere. They just look surprised, groan, and collapse into a pile of corpse. But at least they lie still then, like corpses are supposed to. Since that first kill, I might as well use the word. There really isn't a better one. I've discovered that only if you're lucky do vampires look surprised before they groan and fall down. If you're unlucky and miss the heart, they look angry. And then they fight. There are the other usual ways to kill vampires, of course, but these other ways can get a bit complicated. Vampires are notoriously difficult to trick into sunlight. They have an uncanny ability to sense when there's any sunlight within miles of them, and they're awfully good at hiding from it. Holy water doesn't kill them. It just distracts them for a while, and then they get that angry look again. And it takes a pretty big blade to cut off someone's head, even an already dead someone, and carrying a great big knife around New York City, even the Bronx, is a sure way to get arrested. Nope, pointy sticks are the best way to go, all around. My own pointy stick is actually more of a little knife with wood inlay on the blade. The metal makes it slide in easier. I had the knife specially made by an old Italian guy in just about the only ratty part of Westchester, north of the city. I tried to order one off the internet, but it turns out that while it's easy to find wood inlay handles, the blades themselves tend to be metal. Fat lot those people know. But I wasn't thinking any of this when I pulled the knife out of the body on the ground. I was thinking something more along the lines of, oh, bloody hell, not again. The problem with killing a vampire, of course, is that then you've got a corpse on your hands. A corpse with a hole in its heart. Coroners tend to describe it as a post-mortem wound. Usually coroners don't know quite how post-mortem, of course. All they have to go on are things like rigor mortis and the rate of decomposition. And corpses that are up and walking around and talking simply don't decompose all that quickly. At least, not on the outside. Apparently the insides can get pretty rotten. Whatever it is about sucking blood that keeps them going, it works on the heart, the blood vessels, and the brain, but not much else. The liver turns to something kind of like pâté, all mushy and spreadable. And you don't even want to think about the stomach. At least, I don't. I didn't even want to think about the outside of the vampire in the middle of the cement playground right next to Middle School 45 in the Bronx. What I wanted to do was gather up my groceries, currently scattered across the sidewalk on the other side of the chain-link fence behind me, and go home to my brand-new satellite TV. A Law & Order rerun was sure to be on. It was always on some channel. I wanted to open a can of Pringles, curl up on the couch with my cat, and stare blankly at the screen while television cops solved big problems in less than an hour. But my apartment, and thus my television, were right across the street from the school. I really didn't want to listen to the fuss outside my window when someone found the corpse with the post-mortem wound in the heart. The Bronx is loud enough without adding hysterical screaming. So instead, I pulled my cell phone out of my jacket pocket and scrolled for Nick's number. That's when I realized that my hands were shaking and covered with blood. They left little streaks across the screen. I managed to find the right number anyway, and waited while the line on the other end rang. Nick here. Nick? My voice was shaking almost as much as my hands. It's Elle. Hey, he said. What's up? I've got another problem. I need help again. The usual? Where? I hated to think that dead vampires were becoming the usual in any sense of the term. But I told him where I was, and he said he'd be there in half an hour. And Elle, he said, see what you can do to hide the body until we get there.